Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan with another Fallout 76 news video. And hey, if you love Fallout 76 and you're not subscribed yet to the KingFanMan channel, why not? I talk about Fallout 76 and Bethesda games all the time on this channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell too, so you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Bethesda has been kind of silent about Fallout 76 and its future. Well, at least until we got the roadmap just recently for 2022. But now Mark Tucker has sat down for an interview and given us some great information about the future of Fallout 76 and put a lot of our fears to rest. Just to remind you, Mark Tucker was the #2 guy at Bethesda Game Studios Austin behind Jeff Gardner before Jeff left earlier last year. Now, in this article, Mark Tucker is identified as the director of the studio there in Austin. Now, that's kind of what we figured would happen, even though there's not been an official statement by Bethesda. But it is kind of neat to have him recognized here in this article as the director of the studio at Austin. Probably the biggest piece of news coming out of this interview was Mark Tucker talking about the future of Fallout 76, not just the immediate future with 2022, but the long-distance future, talking about a 3- and 5-year plan for Fallout 76. And of course, this is addressing players' concerns because, as I said at the first of the video, the community has been concerned about where Fallout 76 is going, if it's even dying, in fact, because Bethesda was silent for so long. But this is what Mark said. A lot of my time right now is spent on planning that 3- and 5-year roadmap. The 3-year roadmap is a lot more understood and known. At 5 years, it gets a little more fuzzy, but we're dedicated to updating Fallout 76. The message to our players is there should be no reason to think that we're not going to continue updating this game. He goes on to say, it is good to remind folks these are free updates. We're putting out 4 updates a year. We are doing a lot of specific things this year, but we're putting plans in place to ensure that we have ways to continue producing content for years. Now, there's a couple of things there. Number one, again, they've got plans for 3 to 5 years, so at least we're looking at 5 years down the road that they're already planning, which is great news for all of us that love Fallout 76. But he also gave us something that we didn't know about as well. He said that their plan is to put out 4 major updates a year. So that is good looking forward so that we know what we can expect from Bethesda. Now, also in this interview, we also get some specifics about things that are coming up this year, like the pit. We learned some things that we didn't know about the pit. The interviewer asked him, why did they choose the pit? And that was the first question. And Mark's answer was, well, one of the big goals for this new feature called Expeditions was to allow you to visit different locations in the Fallout universe. And that's something to keep in mind because Expeditions is a feature in and of itself. The first location we're going to visit is the pit. And we chose the pit for a number of reasons. First, it's one of those fan favorites within the IP. Also, it has this great contrast between what you see and experience in Appalachia, and it was important for us to really fulfill that fantasy of I'm not in Appalachia anymore. We wanted this first expedition to be dark and gritty and have this dangerous place tone. The pit checked off all those boxes. It's also interesting to revisit a place that we've seen earlier in the Fallout timeline. It's also fun to bring back some of those things that fans are familiar with, like trogs and auto axes. The interviewer goes on to ask, what is the overall goal with missions in Fallout 76? Or he's talking about expeditions. And Mark answers, expeditions present a different play loop than what we've had before. we're pushing this idea of challenging missions that are replayable, but replayable with a lot of variety. Something that's been a core design pillar for us is we want to make sure that at every step of the way, it still feels like Fallout. That you're going to these interesting locations, so there shouldn't be any time pressure, and you should still feel like you can explore these areas and find interesting lore and discover a lot of environmental storytelling. So we learn something right there. Even though there may be some kind of clock or something that we've heard about before, this is not going to be like a daily op where we're time and under a time crunch. So that is good news about these expeditions. We're still going to be able to explore, and he brings that into this answer. We're going to be able to explore these areas, find lore, and do that where we don't get to do that in the daily ops. Now he goes on to say, but this is not going to be like previous DLCs from other Fallout games where there's a whole other map that you can stay in. Now this is what we've been talking about earlier as well. So it's going to be smaller than a DLC map, but it's not a daily op either. He continues, we're always going to have Appalachia. At the edges of the map, you're going to see indicators for all these other places that you can go, and he's talking about in the future because there's going to be other places other than the pit that we're going to go in the future, like Washington DC and other neat places. How you can go about getting there and being assigned a mission, we're going to explain all that in the future. I bet it's going to be a vertibird, but we'll talk about that later as well. Of course, we're also concerned about fragmenting world populations and things like that, but ultimately, we want players to have a place to go back to, and with that, we have a new hub that we've created in conjunction with the storyline of the pit and future expeditions. So I am encouraged that this is more than just a simple daily op, that we've actually got a place that we can go and explore. So that gives us a little hope anyway that the pit is going to be something more special than a daily op. Later on in the interview, he did explain why we haven't gotten some things that we have been promised in the past. And here is his explanation. He says, as far as technical constraints go, anything is possible. It's just time and people consuming and all of that. There are things that have taken a lot longer than we actually thought they would. As part of our recent quality of life update at the end of the year, we were planning to add corpse highlighting, a simple but pretty big paradigm shift for Fallout. None of the other games had it, but players had asked for it. It turned out to be a little bit more of a technical challenge than we had anticipated. We ran into issues trying to get it into update 32, so we pushed it to update 34, where we thought we were good. And then a horrible bug raised its head days before we were planning to push it out, so we had to pull it. Confidence is high that it will be in the next update, but that's an example of one thing that is a common feature you see in other games, but is proven to be a bit more challenging because it has never been done before in this engine. So looking back, there are several things, that are not on this current roadmap that I'm sure are in their plans, like pets, mods, all kinds of things that we've been told are coming in Fallout 76. Little quality of life things plus major content, and there may be issues, there probably are issues like this that he's talking about that have kept them pushing them back, and there are reasons why we haven't got them yet. So give Bethesda some time, and if they've told us they're coming, you can bet they are working on them. But if it takes them a lot of time with a lot of people, then they may shelf it for a little bit so that they can work on something else. Now he talks about several other things in this article. He talks about the current things that are going on in the game and some quality of life issues. I'm going to leave a link to this article down in the description below if you want to read that entire article, because again, there are some wonderful things in there. But again, the news that was in here that I really wanted to bring you was our concerns about the future of Fallout 76, and now it has been established officially from, evidently, the director of Bethesda Game Studios Austin, Mark Tucker, and he says at least a 5-year plan from now. So if you remember from the first of the game, they said they wanted this game to last at least 10 years. Well, we're 3 years in and they're planning for 5 more. That's 8 at least. So Fallout 76 is looking good. And right now, with what's going on in the game, I'm loving the alien event. It seems like things are looking up for Fallout 76. Guys, be sure and check all my links down in the description below. There's a lot of them, but my Twitter link is down there. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please do so. I give you news on a daily basis about Fallout 76 and other Bethesda games. Also, the link to our Discord is down there. And by the way, if you want to keep up with everything Fallout 76, and I mean everything, go to our Discord, become a part of our Discord community. There is a Fallout 76 news channel in our Discord that you will find out everything you need to know on a daily basis from Fallout 76, but you can also connect with our wonderful community, and I really want to grow our Discord, so please go down and join our Discord community. Of course, it is free, and y'all be active in that as well. Also, the KingFanMan store is down there as well. There's going to be new merchandise coming to that very, very soon. I want to give a huge shout out to all my Patreons and all those that support me, and hey, if you're watching this video, you support me as well. Y'all hit that like button. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great and fantastic day. I am the KingFanMan. I will see you out in the wastes of West Virginia. Bye, guys.